Wherever you are, you're living aloha. Wherever you go, your soul is aloha. Wherever you've been, you're living aloha. A part of yourself is always aloha. Aloha is a state of mind. 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 When you're with family, you feel the aloha. When you're with friends, you feel the aloha. When you're on the beach, the sun's your aloha. And it'll breathe the kiss of aloha. Aloha is a state of mind. 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 A state of mind. A state of mind. A state of mind.
Aloha! State of Mind Podcast. Check 1 2, and we are live. Welcome to the Aloha State of Mind Podcast. It's me, Mark Easy.
And DJ Free.
It is a Tuesday night. It is August 11th, 2020. Welcome out to the show. Hopefully you guys had a great day, a great week. I know I've been hella busy, but how have you been, Free?
Oh, I've been really busy, dude. A lot of drawing. I'm not supposed to show this, but I'm doing the cards already still. I got 2 sets going on, and I got a whole bunch of commissions and all kinds of stuff. So I'm working.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. In these times, work is good. Work is a good thing.
Right? Work is good. I'm not complaining whatsoever. Yeah, I don't know. Like, now that I'm back in Vegas, and it's so weird for having 3 months of having like a beehive kind of effect in your house, because there's like no matter what time it is, there's always something going on. And when I get here, everything is just so mellow. Like, it gives me time to actually do work, but at the same time, I'm like kind of bored, man. Like, I'm working bored. So I take my time and I go drive around and all that. So
Yeah, I guess
yeah.
I guess a lot less interaction with everybody in your household. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's it. You figured there'd be a lot more interaction, but again, my roommates have their own lives. I have my lives, or my life. Yeah, I'm just chilling. Like, I'm working, but it's not as much, talking to people.
right,
So,
right. Well, you should be more productive then that way. You would think.
well, yeah, dude, I'm going crazy over here. Like, I'm getting work done.
Over here,
So,
you too much vala out, talk story, and all that good stuff.
I'm thinking about where we're gonna eat. What, we want to go down to Ocean Side.
Definitely. We got to give a shout out to Mitch Palooza, already in there. Mitch, Jax, he just wanted to say aloha, watching from the treadmill. Jason Monroe is also here. Dang,
Right on.
my cell phone's ringing too. Also,
Well,
Jason Tavares is locked in right now from Facebook.
right on.
So,
Yeah, you know what? See, the thing is, Jax has this really nice, really expensive treadmill
right.
that folds up. Like, the bottom, it looks like this, right?
Mhm.
And I guess the bottom folds up. And for the longest time, they just use it as like to dry their clothes. Like, you hang your clothes on it. And now that he's lost 70 plus pounds, he's on this really good athletic diet, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like he's utilizing that treadmill. So finally, like that $5,000 treadmill getting used, man.
That's
It's a good thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So definitely, yeah, I've been trying to do some changes this week. The last 2 weeks actually started my morning show on Twitch, so that's been fairly doing a lot better than I thought it would. So faring a lot good, and then right after that, like I said, I'm trying to regulate my schedule. I'll wake up, I'll do an hour of day trading, I'll do my show for 2 hours, and then right after my show, I'll just hit my 45-minute walk right after that, so I don't really have to think about it and just get it done. So definitely, just being a regulated and having that at least that morning schedule, uh, it definitely was a good thing, good move for me.
Well, I think especially like over the years I've known you, there's always something consistent about you when you have a schedule.
Right.
Like when you don't have a schedule, dude, you don't care.
Yeah.
you, you just nah, I don't like. Oh, you want to go walking? Nah. Like you make a big excuse. But once you get to a schedule, oh man, you're relentless.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good. I need to get on that schedule thing too, man.
Yeah.
Like
I,
now,
I
all
remember.
I'm doing
I
is
remember when
working.
I remember when you did have that schedule. You'd tell me you'd have everything done by like 11 o'clock in the morning, and you'd be like,
Like I do my walk, I do this, I do that. Um, I had to have errands to run because I had to ship out comics or whatever.
right.
And dude, by like even before 12 o'clock, yeah, like 11:30, I'm like, I'm done doing what I need to do. Now it's like, what am I gonna do? And so that's when I start drawing more. That's when I start creating more things for my like series of things. Um, Now I got all these projects that I'm halfway done with,
Right.
and that I haven't done it yet. So,
Oh boy, you got to get on the schedule, man.
but yeah,
All you got to do is write it down and then follow it. That's it. That's all you got to
right,
do. Real
like
simple.
a secret, like Mariner
Yeah.
in Maui.
Put out your vision board
Put it on my vision board, man.
or your dream
Like I
board,
need
or
to
whatever
go
you
get
call it.
my eyes checked, but that's beside the point. Gotta get on that vision board. Oh, now. Oh, look me. Hold on. There we go.
All right. Oh,
No,
now,
because I turn on my Facebook Live.
okay. All right. Now that we actually got caught up for the week, like we usually do, our little bromance type catch up thing. Let's get to it. Tonight is a very special edition of the podcast. It's actually our episode 36, and we have a very special guest on the podcast tonight, right?
Yes, this gentleman, and I use that word to the literal term. This gentleman, uh, when I first met him a couple of years ago, I met him at geez. Now that I think about it, I forget. It was either um a comic book and toy expo, or it was amazing Lost Hawaii, or it was someplace. I forget where I met him at. I know it was a Hawaii event though, and he had so much knowledge about the industry that because I was I'm still a novice. I'm only 7 or 8 years into it, but he knew so much about comics and so much about collectibles and so much about all these things that I was enthralled by listening to him just talk story. And then getting to know the guy, it was even more so. I was like wanted to just sit there and listen. Um, and he at the time he owned the comic shop in a small uh, two-story, like he's on the second story of this small building. I'll let him get into that later. Um, and he didn't have the space. He didn't have a lot of money to spend. But he was like, bro, like you come out to Hilo and do a signing at my shop. I think you'd do really good. And I was thinking to myself, I got to be honest. I didn't know Hilo had like an like a market for comics. And I was like, dude, whatever, man. You get the hotel and all, whatever. I'm there. I haven't been to Hilo since I was a kid,
Right.
and so myself and my team, Jax and Stacy, came along. I think the first time was just Jax. Jax and Stacy came along, and we had such a great time. The Hilo community came out to support. I mean, and there's a reason why they support. It's not because that's the only place you can get comics. Because honestly, there's an internet now. You can get comics from around the world. But they supported him because he's such a good guy and he's such an honest, decent guy that they supported him. I mean, we're talking guys like families that would drive like an hour and a half, 2 hours from South Point. I think you know what that is, right, Mark?
South Point, probably like Kau area, maybe Captain Cook or around somewhere around that
Yeah,
area. I believe.
like that's like an hour and a half, 2 hours away. Kind of depends on if the volcano will let you go through it.
Right.
But they'll come there and they'll talk story with me. They'll interact. They'll buy stuff. They do other stuff. Then they'll go talk story with him for another hour and a half. And then of course they gotta go because they gotta get out. They gotta go back home and cool the pig and cook the rice. So he had a really good following, and then he grew exponentially. So let me introduce you to one of Hawaii's. Honestly, I would say one of Hawaii's premier knowledgeable people in the comic industry. He's done something in Hilo that not a lot of people have ever done, and I guess he'll get into that later on too. But please welcome to the show, Michael Sato, also known as Mike Sato. Big Mike, welcome to the show. Mike, you there?
Uh-oh.
Hey, Free. What's up, man? Thank you very
What's up,
much. Bro, I had to look around and say, like, wow, who is he talking about, man? All that accolades and stuff like that. Bro. But just so you guys know, it is me. We are open right now. We close the shop at 7 p.m. So we're COVID, safe over here. Hand sanitizers, all that kind of stuff, and masks and stuff. So, but just so you guys can see my ugly face, so you know it's actually me talking and being here.
There you go.
So, just to clarify, bro, it was at one of San Francisco's first collector shows in 2014 when me and you met.
Oh, okay. Wow, 2015? Yeah. Wow, that's literally, I think, the first time I ever did a show in Hawaii.
Yep.
Hotel, right?
Joe Rubenstein was there and all of that, dude. You were one of the guys there.
Yeah, I remember. That's when it was at Aloha Hotel, but it was in the smaller ballrooms. Yep. I remember that. It wasn't in the big place where it's in now. But yeah, dude, that was a great show, dude. I loved it. Like everybody came out to support on that one. It was the first time I've been there.
You guys do a really great show. I love the Ala Moana. I wish they would do it a 2-day, but it's a 1-day show. But it's by locals for locals, dude. You can find everything there: toys, collectible comics. They bring down a couple of guests. It's just a fun thing. It's low impact. It's like a couple dollars to get in, and it's just a blast, man. They put up a really good show. It's one of the ones we support for sure, definitely.
Yeah, no, Francisco, I remember I got a call from him because of his connection to Chandler Rice, one of the guys that I do, I do New York, San Diego, Denver. I do all the big shows with Chandler. And I guess Francisco, they're talking, and they're like, and Chandler's like, oh yeah, I got it. I don't know if you ever met Chandler Rice. I think you have.
Oh yeah, I know Chandler pretty well.
I got one of my friends in Vegas. He's from Hawaii, and Francisco's like, real, yeah, and so they started talking, and Chandler told him he's doing stuff for Marvel right now. He's doing stuff where independent comics, and he's actually Chandler was talking me up to him, oh yeah, no, free runs all the artists in Vegas. I don't run any artists, but I organize them. He's like, yeah, he organizes the people in Vegas to do shows and all that. So Francisco got in touch with me, and then that's how I got in touch with you. So great guys, awesome, I love them. So,
So how you guys doing, man?
look, Mark.
Yo, no, I couldn't hear it for a minute. We're doing great. You know, just battling this situations with the COVID and
Oh
whatnot.
man, I'm losing your
Yo,
audio there, guys.
hopefully we get in there. Can you hear me
I was
now?
going. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
You guys still there?
Uh-oh. I think.
Yes. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
His picture
making
was
sure.
big. I think he's getting internet.
I don't know. We have.
Yeah. I'm just watching Mark mess around with the video.
Yeah, the,
I'm like,
the Skype connection is just like messing with me today. It's like just growing big, small. So I got just got my finger on the trigger, just waiting for it to open and close. I'm like, okay, now I gotta shrink it. Okay, now I gotta make it bigger. Now I gotta make it smaller. But yeah, it's all good. But we'd like to thank you for joining us. And I know you guys, you and Free have a extensive relationship. And I actually know your brother, Nick, because of the DJ thing. Actually, I just was watching him on Twitch just a few hours ago, going bananas.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
very
No,
energetic, man.
I got mad props for him. I hope he's not watching because he's a damn good DJ, but I don't want him to know that I know that because I'm the big brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he kind of let it get to his head.
Yeah, but no, man, Nick is, I give him mad props, man. He has made a living and doing what he loves, man. So, you know, that's, and I've been fortunate to be able to do the same in a way. So, you know, yeah, I got mad props from him, bro.
Right, most definitely. And speaking of brothers and growing up, here at the Aloha State of Mind podcast, before we get into what you're doing now, we like to take an insight into like a little bit of how you grew up and how you came about with your passion for your craft or your business. So actually, we like to know a little bit about your childhood, where you grew up, and actually like how your childhood, teenage years, and all that was just growing up, so we can get an insight into the person. We like to know a little bit about the person behind the business and behind all the stuff that's going on.
Okay, well, your podcast is not long enough, to be honest.
Well, we can take the condensed version.
But you know, to be honest, I feel sometimes that I've lived a couple of lives during my lifetime, and not all of them good. You know, when I was young, I had a bunch of crap going on in my life. You know, put me on a path that wasn't real good. You know, yeah, eventually hit the wall. You know, recovered. And one of the things that I look back during this whole time is all my bright spots always seem to focus around comics. Yeah? So when all the crap was going on in my life and stuff, comics was always an escape, my coping mechanism. You know, and later on, I didn't realize this till much later on, but when I went, you know, kind of back and like examined my life, the parts that were like when I stayed real focused and close to the comics and stuff was actually like better, you know, better parts of my lifetime. So just to give a rundown, I was born in a place called Weymouth, Massachusetts. Okay. Late 70s, we moved here. I was hanai'd by an awesome guy, my stepdad, Pete Sato Jr., Maui boy, grew up on Maui. So I think that's why me and Alika, we have a good connection because Alika spent time in Massachusetts. So like we can talk about that stuff. He's also an Outer Island. He's a great guy. Love Alika. He's you know, he's Maui boy also, you know what I mean? So we can share a lot of shared experiences, even though the time frame was a little bit different because I'm older. Dude, I'm older than dirt. I'm pushing up on 55. But yeah, you know, so late 70s, got to Maui. You know, I always had the bug. There was an awesome store there, Primar Golden store up in Wailuku, Complete Comics, man. Dude, that was my second home. I lived in that shop. Yeah. you know, my stepdad was a really awesome guy. You know, put up with all my demons. You know, gave a bunch of love to me and my family. So I got nothing but love for my stepdad. He passed away a while ago. Matter of fact, August 8th was the anniversary of his passing. But yeah, I love growing up on Maui. It just kind of, you know, after a while, it just kind of became, I don't know, too expensive to kind of live there and stuff. Remind me. I started getting into comics real heavy as far as like buy, selling, and trading on Maui. So we had a kick-ass swap meet back in the old Kahului fairgrounds. So this was right on Punene Ave. Really awesome place. That's where I broke my teeth in. Cut my teeth on buy, selling, and trading. Perry's was the only shop in town, so it was great because like he fostered a great vintage and stuff like that. But for the collectors there wasn't a lot of options for like us to trade and sell because never have internet, you know, during this kind of time. Never have eBay, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I kind of started a buy, sell, and trade with comics, toys, and sports cards was hot during that time. Over a few years, did really well at the local swap meet. Over a few years, it was like all of a sudden all these places started popping up. Sellers at the swap meet, you know, there was like 6, 7, 8 sellers doing the same thing at the swap meet. There was a couple of other places that popped up. The girl I was with at the time, her family was from Kona. That's how I ended up on the Big Island. She moved and I followed. There was actually basically one shop, comic center over here that existed in Hilo from the 50s. So moved over there, late 80s. We opened up my first shop, Unique Novelties. Had that for a while. Combination of the crash and my shop got robbed, and that combination put my shop down real hard. So backtrack a little bit. I don't hide it or anything like that, but you know, like I said, my upbringing, my real dad, brilliant man, died cirrhosis of the liver, 36 years old. Spoke multiple languages fluently, straight A student, could have done anything with his life, crawled in a bottle, never got out. That impacted me a lot. I had a lot of anger at him. I had a lot of frustration at him. So that was my demons that I dealt with, and comics was always my escape. Okay. When my shop went down, that was really hard for me. And I just spun out of control, you know. Battled with some drug addiction, hit the wall hard, even spent a little time locked up. When I came back out, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. I just gravitated to comics again, you know. That's why I said when I look back and I examined, the comics have been a focal point, keeping me focused, keeping me on a I guess a straighter path or whatever, man. I don't know how to. I love it. I immerse it. I'm a fanboy. You know, everybody who knows me, dude, I rock comic stuff all the time. Hats, shirts. I live this life because I love this life, and I've been super fortunate, man. You know, ended up on the Big Island, had a shop, like I said. Shop went down. When I got out, worked my work, you know, my regular work, but wasn't enough. So I started messing around, doing eBay and stuff like that. Started making some good money on eBay doing it. Had an eBay store for a while. In the meantime, dude, I got to travel. I got to do shows. I got to do all kinds of stuff off and on, you know, during these times, which was brilliant. You know, for me, I loved it. I loved the immersive of conventions. Then I met my current wife. She was wonderful. Definitely helped keep me focused, keep me prioritized. You know, worked for a company called Suisan until 2008 when the crash basically they cut my position out, and I was faced with, okay, take a pay cut, take another job, start over again at the bottom after about 6 years. And I wasn't willing to do it. I went back to school, got my degree. I'm proud to say that if it wasn't for comic books, I would have never gotten my degree. I wrote almost every single one of my college papers on comic books. So I have a bachelor's degree in sociology with a minor in psychology, and I have a master's in social work, which Free Isabello was there at the ceremony the day I graduated. He was with me.
Yeah, I was there. I was sweating it out, man, like with the rest of us. It was hot that day. Like, well, it's always humid because of the rainforest thing. But yeah, I was proud to be there for you, bro.
Uh-oh. I think he got frozen. Let me see.
Oh, you got frozen.
Wonder if he's still on.
Mike, you got frozen.
3 of 3 in the call. I think he's I don't know. Well, that's quite an interesting story so far. We'll see if he unfreezes. That's the thing about doing everything live. You never know what may happen. But it's
Well, we'll try to get him back on.
yeah.
Like, I know that in that mall, the internet sucks in that mall.
Yeah. He's still
yeah,
connected, so we'll see if he pops back on. If not, we'll give him a call.
We'll give him a
right back.
call. You know, the thing is, like,
Yeah, he's gone. So let me see if I can add him back in while you.
So the thing about Mike, he's always been a battler, always been a warrior. You know, we all get in trouble. Sometimes we get in trouble in worse ways than others. But it's how you come back from it. It's how you look at it and say, you know what, I can't do this no more. I gotta keep going. So, you know, I commend him. When I was there for his graduation, I mean, his family was ecstatic, of course, but you can tell that he was like a leader of the community over there, because all the students that he was with, they all congratulated him. Like, they all, you know, basically they almost formed a line to congratulate him.
Right.
And, you know, he was just like, yeah, bro, I'm just hungry, dude. Like, I'm tired, or I like go home. But yeah, no, you can tell that ever since then he was somebody that you could actually, you know, look up to. So yeah, he did really well. Like, he hasn't gotten into. Is he back yet?
No, I'm trying to hit him up right now, but
He hasn't touched upon his second story yet, because he was talking about his first story. The first story he opened up in Hilo was doing pretty well from what I hear, and then it crashed, and then of course it got burglarized, and it broke his heart, dude. Because again, like,
Man,
there he is. Wait,
about the guy, dude, I don't know what the heck happened, bro.
there it is.
Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
Yep. Very good.
I'm getting back to, like, you know, when he talks about comics, you can feel the passion in Mike, where it helped him through bad times. So, yeah, Mike, you there?
Yeah, man, I'm there. Sorry about that, bro. I switched over to a different different internet stuff. We got signal drops and boosts here. It goes crazy. So, yeah. But yeah, man. So, you know, through all of it, comics has been the focal point for me. I started getting into it. Like I said, I started doing Blaisdell. You know, I used to go to the collector show in Blaisdell. I started doing stuff like that. That's where I met Francisco.
Did he drop?
There you go.
Hold on, you're kicking in and out.
I was doing Blaisdell for several years. I was doing eBay for a while. Eventually, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, you know, was doing eBay. I was doing shows. Met Francisco. Me and him hit it off. He's a good friend of mine also. We do a lot of stuff together. And then, it was crazy. So I was doing a lot of stuff over here out of my house, and I kept running into, I'd go up to the shows and people would be asking me, oh man, do you ship off island? And I'm like, why? Where are you from? And it's like, oh, I'm from Hilo, I'm from Kona, I'm from Waimea. So I was meeting guys on the Big Island up at those shows. And I told them, dude, I live in Hilo. So I started doing stuff out of my house. Then the next thing knows, these guys start coming to my house and picking up stuff. And they knew each other, but they had no clue that they were into the comics until they met at my house. And it dawned on me, dude, the reason why is because there's no place on this island for comic collectors or comic enthusiasts or people who are just curious or whatever to meet,
right,
and gather. Right. I met an artist friend of mine, Brian Ravel. He was my original partner when we started up Enjoy Comics. November 28th, 2015, we opened Enjoy Comics, and a lot of ups and downs. Was a bit of a struggle at first, First it was great, and then it turned into a real struggle. One of the things I found out about being over here, so the normal MO, you don't find my shop, like shops like mine in shopping centers. I am in the biggest shopping center on the Big Island, which is not that big, but it's big for Hilo. We're an indoor mall. Most of the time you find shops like mine in industrial areas, downtown business districts next to pizza places and burger joints, or strip malls, rural strip malls. They're destination places that people go and seek out, okay? The only problem over here, the population is not the most motivated population. So if it is too much work, too much out of the way, too much effort off their path, they're not going to do them. And we found that out the hard way. We almost went under. Perfect timing, I guess, perfect storm, whatever you want to call it. Right when we were starting to hit a very dangerous point for the original shop, the mall reached out to me. We sat down, we talked story. They made me a great offer, one that was definitely worth me exploring. Like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. We were going to go out of business anyway, so I figured, dude, I need to do this. At least if I give it a try and it fails, at least I tried, versus just failing. And it was the best decision we made. Yeah, man. My customers, they are the most awesome customers on the planet. They're in here all the time supporting this, helping me feed my family, helping me stay open, helping to bring comics. We do a lot of community stuff here. But all of that's possible because of the people that come in and spend money in my store. So big props to my customers. I really love that. So I think that's where we're up to speed right now.
Well, actually, not really, because I want you to kind of comment on the original shop that you had on the second level, and how small. I mean, dude, you gotta tell us.
Dude, it was like 400. It was like 470 square foot square. But it was the cheapest rent in all of Hilo. It was a state lease building, okay. And like I said, I seeked out the cheapest rent possible. Hell, my electric bill was more than my rent. But even with a low overhead, because that's the MO you follow. You find up the cheap rent and out of the way places. You keep your overhead low. This is the stuff that I was taught in the business by guys a lot wiser than me. A lot of the guys that I who mentored me and taught me a lot about the business. I followed this method. And it was a method I used for my first shop also. That first shop was pretty successful for a while also. But over here, in Hilo side, it just didn't work, man. Nobody was coming out to the industrial area. We'd have our regulars, and that would be it. Walk-in traffic, I mean, it got bad. I'm not going to kid you. There was a time when we went 90 days and 36 days in a 90-day period where zero, most other businesses would have gone down, you know. But I'm just lucky that we managed to survive. I'll always love the little store because that's the first one we opened over here. You know, it was a lot of fun, and dude, I had, I'm blown away, dude. I'm in a little island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and we brought David Mack here to Hilo. We brought Mark Teixeira here to Hilo. Steve Aloha dropped in. You came here. Marat Michaels came here. You know, Layla Leitz came here. You know,
Yeah.
we, you know, that little hole in the wall. Local artists, man, we were fortunate. John J. Murakami and Chris Carvalho from Amakua Guardians, Monocomics, and Gordon Ryder. They were the first two guys that came to the shop and helped us with our grand opening when we first opened in the 2015. You know, so. We've been really fortunate, and I've been really happy to bring some old school feel, because that's how it was in the day. Back in the day, artists used to do the tours. They used to do junkets. They used to come to the stores, and the collector, the comic enthusiasts used to get to meet these guys face to face. You know, Perry was great at that, man. I met Jim Lee at Perry's shop, man. And most of the guys on Maui will identify with this. You know, Scott Williams, Luis Portasio. These are people that came through before. Frank Miller came here before. Then the industry kind of changed, you know, less and less in that and more of these conventions, you know, which is, to me, it's kind of a pity, man. I think the grassroots stuff, which is why I get a lot of the guys that love it, because they still love that fan interaction, you know. I think everybody underestimates the grassroots direct contact that you get when you come to a shop. Creators, anyway.
No, I agree. Especially like back in the days, I used to go to Jellies and stand in line out the door to meet Joe Madera, to meet Jim Lee, you know, all those guys. Yeah. And it was local shop. It wasn't the conventions that were bringing. I mean, yeah, you can go to the conventions and all that kind of stuff. But you know, like guys like me back in the days when I was like 14 and I had the X-Men #1 or whatever it was. Probably not X-Men #1. X-Men #1 came out when I was like 22. But anyway, like you go down to the local comic shop because you couldn't afford to go to the conventions and, you know, do the 3-day event and stand in line, all that kind of stuff. You got on there with like your 5 comics that you're allowed to get signed, and you stand in line and you meet Mark Silvestri, or actually Scott Williams. That's the first time I met Scott Williams, is because he was living in Hawaii at the time. I don't know where he's living now. Probably somewhere in California. But, you know, he's from Hawaii. And Scott Williams, that was the first time I ever met somebody that worked on a comic book. I was like, he's Jim Lee's inker, man. He's Mark Silvestri's inker. He's basically, he's the inker for everybody that was anybody. And so, like, at the time when I went to your shop, it's a... Now, I'm laughing because from what you have now, that little hole in the wall was a hole in the wall, dude. You'd have to go up these really narrow stairs with the wood, like the fake wood paneling on the sides, with the carpet on the stairs. You get up there, and then you open the door. First thing you open the door, I mean, you're met with comments. Like, the door just barely made it open to where you can actually get. And so
I measured everything with a tape measure. It fit perfect.
I mean, everything was like squared off, man. And then you had like where you know, the signing area where the AC was, and then at certain time at night the bugs start coming in because now it's their time. Brian had his drawing table. You had your workstation, and that was it. There was no back room. It was just the room. So, I mean, it was an amazing... I gotta admit, it was an amazing shop. It really was. But when... I mean, I know the struggle of having a shop at that location.
It was definitely fun.
Dude, it was, dude. I love going there. But going from that shop to where you are now, it's amazing. I'll be right back. Hold on. Mark, talk a little bit to him.
I'm not sure where he's going, but anyways, first of all, I gotta
Well,
commend you because just your story is very inspiring. Because I know a lot of people who fall victim to whether it be substance abuse or depression, and they never can recover from that. But I think, like you said, because you had something to hold on to, like comics. Some people it's music, some people it's art, but because you had something that grounded you, that based you, that you had a passion for, almost like a passion to live for, almost that you wanted to, for it to envelop you and for you to share it with other people. I think that's something that drove you, to recenter yourself, like you said, and actually do well for yourself.
well, the comics definitely, ever since I can remember, is are, been filled with life lessons.
Hmm.
You know,
Right.
you know, great parables. So for me, it was, because like I lost sight of a lot of that because of the crap, that was going on in my life at the time, and all the my inner demons and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
once I cleared away that, man, like I drew on so much of that stuff for inspiration, and part of it rebuilding my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
Your core values and integrity I'm far from a perfect individual, dude. Everybody,
Yeah.
you either like me or you don't, but I'm real.
Hmm.
But you don't have to be perfect, man.
Right.
It's none of the, and that's what I think I love about a lot of the comics, especially the Marvel stuff, because they showed us as heroes that how flawed they are. They're not that much different from us in any way. They just have these special powers, but they're flawed. They have anger. They have hatred. They have all of these defects, personal defects, and
Right.
yet when the time comes, they put all that stuff on the side and do what needs to be done for the betterment. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I try and live my life. You know, like I said, I can be controversial, I can be headstrong. A lot of that has to do with my experiences in life. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Yeah, my belief systems, integrity, all of this kind of stuff. I don't waver. I don't waver for nobody.
Hmm.
You know, it is what it is, man. You either like me or you don't. You don't, like I said. But hopefully that people respect it. I'm the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I had to work on that, man. I basically had to rebuild my life, and I'm kind of glad, man, because that's one of the things that hurts me now is young generations of kids don't have a lot of this kind of stuff to draw on. Um, and I want to see that. You know, there's some amazing life lessons. Are the comics perfect? Of course not, dude. It's easy to turn around and take a medium and pick it all apart and pull out the negatives. But there's so much positives there, and I would rather focus on the positives than the negatives. There's so many good messages out there, how to conduct yourself, how to behave. I'm fortunate enough every once in a while I get to go talk to the kids at the schools, and I point out a lot of these life lessons that are, it seems pretty remedial, but sometimes we forget them. You know,
Right.
there isn't a single. That's why I had an easier time in college, to be honest, bro. There is not a single sociological, psychological, or ideological issue that has not been talked about in comics. You know,
True.
that's why I drew on my papers, man. Comics have been doing it from back in the day, before any mainstream media had the guts to tackle serious issues: drug use, alcoholism, bigotry, racism. They've been doing it from the start. So, I had a great source to draw on. So, you know,
Yeah, that's definitely awesome. I'm glad you can actually take it back and give back to, like you said, the kids nowadays, millennials, and even the younger generation. Like you said, especially I lived in Hilo for maybe like early part 2000 to 2003. Actually worked at the radio station up there. We actually had a store, cell phone store in the mall, the Prince Goyo Plaza back then too. And I remember the kids, man, just like they had nothing to do, especially in Hilo. Like they would have absolutely nothing to do. They would come hang out in the mall, and I would see kids like try and apply for jobs because they wanted to do stuff and nothing for them. You know what I mean? So it was just kind of crazy, like how little outlet and guidance they had. So I'm glad that you are doing, your part in educating them and giving them a little bit of inspiration that you can, prosper through adversity and actually run a successful business in a small town like Hilo because that's rough. It's definitely rough.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's the one thing too is like I talked about Lika being kindred on a lot of spirit on a lot of things. Alika Seki from Maui owns Maui Comics and Collectibles. As Outer Island shops, man, we face things that no other shops face. We're like the last guys in the entire United States to get our comics, and that was no joke. That's real. Um, uh, yeah, we got to pay extra freight to get them to our island. So all our stuff gets dropped in Oahu, and we pay additional monies just to get it to our island. So we're paying twice for shipping. So again, these kind of challenges, it's not easy for the outer islands to do. That's why I give him props, and I hope he gets the shop back open when the time is ready. And Maui's ready to have that kind of opening again and stuff like that. I hope he's successful because it's important in a community. I mean, he's already shown what he brings to the community through his through the Maui convention that they do over there, which is absolutely free to the public, man. I love that. So big props over there. But yeah, man, one of the things I did when I decided to do this shop, we have several core programs that we have built in from day one. First one, and I'm really proud of this, is our literacy program. So I encourage all the kids 17 and under to go to the library card and get a library card in their name. Okay. When they get a library card in their name, they can come to the store and they get automatic 10% discount on all purchases of reading material, comics, trade paperbacks, graphic novels, hardcovers, etc. Okay. The second part of this is with the library card, when they get their report card, if they get straight A's or equivalent, I give them a $10 store credit for reading materials. Okay. And if they get B's or better or equivalent, they get a $5 store credit. Because this is the generation that we need to foster. We need to foster dreamers. We need to foster imagination. We need to foster critical thinking. People think critical thinking, and I don't care what anybody says, man. Everybody says critical thinking is supposed to be a logical process. It's not. It's a creative process because you got to be able to take yourself outside the box to be able to problem solve. Okay? If you don't have that ability, and the only way you get that ability is to have an imagination. So one of the things I talk about and I push, DOE took a lot of the artistic endeavors out of school. And these are the stuff that stimulate imagination: music, art, real recreational reading, science fiction, and fantasy. They don't teach any of this stuff in school anymore, and that's why they're doing a disservice to our kids. Kids need to be able to have an imagination. And STEM, don't get me wrong, I completely support STEM. It's absolutely necessary. But here's the thing is, you're teaching these kids STEM, okay? But if they don't have an imagination to think up new applications for the STEM that they're learning, what's the point? They're just regurgitating stuff. And all of that can be found when you release your mind to these kind of artistic endeavors: comics, sci-fi, fantasy, fiction, art, music. These are the things that need to be put back and given importance in our society again, especially in our education.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You mean, it stimulates not only creativity within, say imagination, but that's what inspires people to go to the moon when you thought you couldn't go to the moon, even though Freeze says that we never went to the moon. So I'm not going to get into that conspiracy theory with him. But anyways, and trying to be a scientist and cure for diseases, it all comes from like you said, critical thinking, imagination, and just just believing that you can do something that people say is impossible.
Dude, you just hit that right on the head. Okay, so here's a perfect example. Brilliant scientists, engineers, technicians, and mathematicians at NASA, right? The founding of our space program. But what most people don't know, these guys were all the same science fiction fantasy geeks reading all the sci-fi comics back in the 40s and 50s. Okay? They got the what ifs. What if we could make a communicator and we could talk, hold it in our hand and talk to somebody across the world? Okay, what if we had a video screen or all these kind of things, man? And they got the education coupled with their imagination. There isn't a single bit of technology that we have that at one point wasn't considered science fiction. And through this combination of imagination and education, they became science fact. The technology we're using today, back then, science fiction.
Yeah, definitely. Like, who knows? We would have had cell phones that you could communicate across the world, and computers. Right now, we're like thousands of miles away from each other, looking at each other and holding a conversation as we speak. And back then, you'd be like, no way. Like, you could barely talk to somebody on the phone, and now you can see them interact, and but technology has its downfalls too. But I mean, without imagination, without the breeding of imagination, I don't think there's no creativity, there's no ingenuity without imagination.
And here's the other thing, okay? And this goes out to all my comic enthusiasts, my speculators, and my hardcore collectors who like to get the expensive books, okay? Oh, dude, we're close, so I can take off my mask. Nobody. So the reality is this, man. All these guys who have these ridiculously expensive books out in the marketplace, right? And books for go $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 books, okay? Without a next generation of readers who become enthusiasts and fans and eventually collect, all these guys going to die with some very expensive colored paper, okay? Because that's the reality, okay? If they are, showing, oh man, I just got this $50,000 book from my collection, but they're not taking their grandkids, their nieces, their nephews, sons and daughters and stuff like that to the comic shops, they're doing a disservice, okay? I hear all arguments under the sun why not to do it. Oh, it's not the same as the comic. It's not meant to be the same. It's their comics, not your comics. But these guys don't get it. You have to perpetuate the hobby. If there's no next generation that loves what we love, it goes away. And it'll be gone in a couple of generations, and that's one of the saddest things that I can think of.
Very true, very true. Like you said, it's only, and a lot of things it's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. You know what I mean? And that's driven by, like you said, by education, passion, culture, all these things that we grew up with that we passed down to our kids and the next generation and the next. So without that, there's no really value to anything whatsoever. You know what I mean? There's not even value to money nowadays, but I mean, without the culture and the education and the love and the passion of things, you know what I mean? What's anything really worth? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of quiet, Free.
I'm listening.
That's the most quiet I've heard you.
The reason why I had to leave is because right outside my door, my whole dresser drawer with my new microwave and all that was falling down. So I was like, oh, I gotta go. And when I came back, the conversation was so interesting. Yeah. And the reason why, and I agree 1,000% with both of you. Without the next generation being involved, and without us teaching them, what we love doing and what we love will die. Because with technology, and I tell people this, and they're like, well, why buy a physical comic when you can just go online, pay 99 cents per download, and get the whole comic. Um, and I tell them it's because you're collecting. It's because later on when you have a son or a daughter, and they have a son or a daughter, they can open it up, the book.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so there's a famous quote by Stan. Was that?
So go ahead.
Okay, yeah, there's a famous quote by Stan Lee when somebody asked him the same question, and he's like, and this is an actual quote. He's like, comics are like boobs. Yeah, you can look at them on the internet, but I'd rather have them in my hands. And like everybody in the room just started cracking up. And so,
that is exactly the point. Okay, so you know, I remember when everybody was like, "Oh, digital, that's it. That's the end of print comics," and da 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 da. But honestly, okay, you're a creator, man. I've seen you work. Mad props. I can't draw to save my life. You know, but here's the reality, dude. Comics are an art form that is designed to deliver in a certain manner. Okay, the big, beautiful splash pages, the full covers. The art is the driver for the story. The text and the thought bubbles are just a guide. Okay, and you lose that completely on a tiny little freaking screen that you gotta blow up to read the text, shrink it back down to see back and forth, panel to panel. It just undermines the whole experience of reading a comic the way the comics were designed.
Yeah.
You know, it's I mean, I'd say it's rubbish. I signed up, you know, for a year with digital Marvel and stuff like that because I thought it would be cool to be able to read a bunch of old stories that are expensive, so I can't afford to get them. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. And dude, it was rubbish, man. It was miserable. It took away everything that I enjoyed about reading comics. And so for me, I don't get it. I just don't. You know. It's for me. And you know what? Pretty much everybody I know that was on digital have all come back to, you know, it's not the same in any way, shape, or so I don't fear digital doing away with the print comics. Like I said, it's a medium that it's just not the same as holding a comic in your hands, seeing the art the artist delivers to you, the way they envision it, the way it was meant to be shared. For me, it's that's hands down.
Oh, absolutely. The comic experience is supposed to be like neurological and physical put together. Like I even tell guys that are doing digital comics, like just drawing, and they started off in the beginning. Everybody starts off on paper and pencil, right? Crayon and pencil, crayon and paper. But they, you know, a lot of them stick to just doing digital now, and some of them are really great and they do it well. But when I go to a comic convention and I sit in front of, you know, I talk story with a lot of the artists, and I'll have a conversation with them, and they're on their notepads or whatever, like their iPads or whatever, and I'm like, oh, what are you working on? Oh, it's the next page or whatever. It's like, oh, where's the original? And he's like, oh, this is the original. Now I look at it like, yes, it's a part of the growth of the industry because it's faster, you know, it's easier. But I tell like kids and teenagers and young adults that want to get into the business, do it on paper and pencil. Do it on paper. Jim Lee still does it on paper. What's so wrong about it? And the reason why is I tell him, you go to the Louvre and you see the Mona Lisa. That's an original painting from 1,000 years ago. What am I gonna do when they ask for the original for this, you know, drawing that I did? I'm gonna show them a USB. No, I want them to see the, you know, I want them to see the actual drawing on the, you know, wherever I have it up over here. So I tell them, you're never gonna get another Mona Lisa. You're never gonna get another, you know, girl with the pearl earring. You're never gonna get the 16 chapel if it's all digital. So and guys like Dennis, what's his name? Dennis Zrout. I don't know his name. I don't know how to say his name. He's one of your
Dennis
customers.
Drought, one of our
Yeah, Zrout.
yeah.
I, I, I just sent him a whole what you call that tablet of Bristol boards. I told him, dude, just have fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, enjoy the time on the board. Like, this digital stuff, yeah, you scan it, you color it or whatever. But man, you gotta have that original. So anyway, Mark.
Oh, well, you want to segue to something now? Well, like I said,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
these podcasts just amaze me because we talked to Alika, and now we're talking to you, and I figure we're gonna talk about just comics in general, but the conversations are so intriguing, and you guys are so educated. I'm so glad that we could talk to local business owners and just show everybody that not everybody's like, hey, bro, what's up? Like, I don't know, yeah, kalakain. And, and we're talking to some real educated people with college degrees. Like, I don't even have a college degree, so you're definitely 2-3 up on me. But you know what I mean. Just to speak to someone who's so educated, who has so much life experience, and like I said, is motivated to teach the next generation, just inspires me to want to do better. For myself and for my daughters and for the next generation. So, like I said, I gotta give props to that because it's crazy. Like I figured, Free and him just gonna yip yap about comics, and I'm just gonna sit over here and just listen in like a fly on the wall. But the the conversation is so intriguing that I'm like, wow. I'm like, it's a trip, but it's all good. So, but now your shop is actually located where? Just for people who might not be familiar with you.
We are located inside the Prince Cohio Plaza in Hilo. Okay, so we're the biggest shopping unit on the island. We're an indoor mall. We're across the street from like Walmart and their area and stuff like that. But yeah, Unit 715. Yeah, I was really pleased when Free was talking about my old shop. Yeah. But you know what? One of the best things is when we came here, this place was a fresh slate. So I got to decorate it and design it the way I wanted to. There's some stuff that I feel is lost sometimes in this current age of the comic shops and stuff like that. And dude, I never ever tell another shop owner how to run their comics bookshop. That's completely up to them. But for me, there was some lessons that were passed on to me years ago when I opened up my first shop, and it rings true today. Like it blows my mind how some of these guys had that insight to pass on to me. So. And I heard this from two different guys, actually. It's very similar. They did in their own ways, but basically, if you want to be successful in business, it comes down to basically 4 things. And believe it or not, it's got the first thing they told me, it's got nothing to do with the books. It really doesn't. Because you can get the books anywhere. Now think about that. This is back in the 80s, they're telling me this. And that stuff is way more applicable to today than it was back then. Okay. So that was the first rule. It isn't about the books. Okay. Number 1, you have to take pride in your merchandise. Okay. So when people come in there, if I'm proud of my shop, I try and keep my shop a certain way because it reflects me. It reflects me as a shop owner. Because if you don't care about your inventory, if you don't care, how it looks and how things present and stuff like that, then your customer's not. The other one, of course, is your network, and I've been really fortunate to build a wonderful network of people over the years, and I'm grateful to many of them who still stayed friends. you know, and they are a backbone of what I do. Being in the middle of the Pacific, we're pretty isolated sometimes. But one of the cool things is I have a network of individuals, and they are hunting all the time collections on the mainland. And while my funds are limited, I'm not rich by any means. When I got into the business, I sold my stuff like early on before it was crazy money. But you know what, man? For my little shop in Hilo, I've actually put some amazing books in people's hands, and that's the other thing I love as a shop owner, because I know what that's like. I know what that's like as a collector, as an enthusiast, is to get that book. And for me to be able to make that happen for somebody, that is freaking brilliant feeling for me. Okay. So pride in your inventory, your network, okay, your knowledge base, okay. Fanboys will eat you alive if you're posing. You need to know your stuff, okay. I live this stuff, man. I immerse myself in comics so much. I just love it, the art form. And I think because I'm not an artist in any way, I don't think I have a creative bone in my body except for make stick figures. So I have massive appreciation for artists and creators, man. And I've been fortunate. I've met a lot in my lifetime. I've been really fortunate, and finally, it's your customer service. These are the 4 things that will set you apart, make you survive, and make you last. If you put those 4 forward, and I've tried to live it. We've been really fortunate. And like I said, man, my customers, if it wasn't for them, man, they helped us get to where we are. And believe it or not, we're not where we were before COVID, but we're in probably one of the best situations to be in at this point in time to survive this if we can. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but and a lot of that has to do with my core. All my core customers, man. These are the guys who are in here week in, week out, doing their monthly pre-orders with us. And like I said, man, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. So I got nothing but love for these guys. I really, really appreciate them. These are the things that I've been fortunate. Comics has given me a lot. I've had amazing experiences. For a little while, I was a facilitator for Todd McFarlane, man. I got to sit down and talk stories and talk real comics in industry with Todd McFarlane. So much so that everybody in the other room wished we would shut up because we were just having really great conversations. Because I was in the industry when all this stuff happened. Todd loves to talk comics, but he also loves to talk comics with people who I lived it. I was in the industry when he was at Marvel and he left Marvel and started Image and all of this kind of stuff. I lived through that, so me being able and I the first time I went up there, I went gung-ho, dude, because this is a buy invitation only, and I thought this might be a once in a lifetime chance, so I ain't gonna blow it. And it turned out to be a really great experience. Todd actually enjoyed talking comics. Matt Carlos Bryant, who's Todd's manager, left a really wonderful statement on the Facebook page for the first signing that we did. And having these opportunities to meet these creators who I've idolized, I'm a grown man. I'm coming up on 55, but you know what? I'm still a fanboy. I'm still impressed. I love George Perez. I Neil Adams. These guys that I've met. I still have massive props, and I'm still tickled like a little when I met Stan. If you've ever seen my Facebook page, you will see the biggest 9-year-old stupid grin on my old face. Because Stan, that was like the ultimate, man. I was a 9-year-old kid again for that time. And like I said, man, comics gave me all this, bro. Comics gave me all this. So That's why it's important for me to give back. That's why it's important for me to foster this with the next generation. One of the things I love about being in the mall is one of the greatest events they have, and unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be canceled this year. They do an amazing indoor trick-or-treating. It's the mall crawl, Halloween mall crawl, okay? So all the vendors in the mall set up a table outside their stores. Everybody, Macy's, Sears, everybody, right? And they give out kids the candy. You know, they give all the kids candy. The kids cycle through the mall. Dude, last year, we gave away almost 1,300 comic books to the kids here. And for me to be able to put those kind of things in kids' hands, dude, that is absolutely fantastic for me. I love that. So, yeah, I'm real lucky.
I can still hear the passion in your voice about comics. I remember back in the days when I mean, I never really drew comics when I was earlier. Like, you know, I collected just because, you know, it's G.I. Joe, it's Transformers, it's X-Men. And going down to the store and getting the dollar comic. You know, back then sometimes it was 75 cents off the rack. And what I used to do, like when I used to get free comics from, you know, comic shops, or like, oh, you know, yeah, I'll go up there and say, oh yeah, I want to buy these 2 comics, whatever. And they're like, have you seen the other one? I was like, no, what is that? And they did give me a comic. And I was so excited, dude. I'm like, oh my God, they're giving me a comic? And so when I was, you know, like 12 or 13, that's when I started drawing from comics. Like I'd have G.I. Joe, all, you know, these G.I. Joe comics. And I remember from Froggies in Oahu. Like I used to go to Jellies all the time. I used to go to other realms, like religiously. I used to go to other realms for everything.
Love Brenda, they are so awesome. I give them so much props, man, because like I said, I had my shop back then, and the crash and some other unfortunates, but I couldn't keep it going. I couldn't, you know, and anybody who survived that time, I have mad props for. Other realms, Ted at Geckos. Unfortunately, we've heard the news. You know, Ted's planning on closing his shop, which is an absolute travesty as far as I'm concerned. Very knowledgeable man. And, you know, I've been lucky. Anytime I have needed to call, and even Charlie, anytime I needed to call, these guys, man, they always pick up the phone. So mad props to those two. So.
Well, I mean, even Loretta and Charlie was saying that back. I mean, there was a time when they were struggling hard. Like, you know, they both had secondary jobs, or technically first jobs, and the comic shop was what they funneled their money into just to keep it going. Anyway, but yeah, like I'd get a comic, like say a free comic, you know, G.I. Joe, whatever, and I'll draw from that. I'll draw Snake Eyes. I'll draw Storm Shadow. I'll draw Donald Duck and Beetle Bailey out of the comics. I'll draw, you know, all this stuff. Beetle Bailey, sad sack. But yeah, so that's where I got my love of reading comics. It helped me learn because I'm dyslexic, so I would have a visual to the letters, all kinds of stuff. ElfQuest, oh my God, I used to sit in libraries for hours. But my passion for the art was always there. The comics weren't always there for me because I moved on to other things and I got into stupid stuff. Then I got into graffiti art and that took over my urban life. But for you, like anytime something was going really badly downhill, you knew that comics were there for you. So that I think that's where the passion's coming from, because you knew that no matter what, there's that escape. And now that you made it into your livelihood, it's even more so ingrained into your life. So that to me, that was an interesting story, man.
Yeah, I didn't realize it at the time. Later on, you know, a lot of self-reflection and, you know, just certain things stand out when you start re-examining, you know, your life and different turning points and stuff like that. And yeah, you know, it's crazy, but yeah, every single time I look back and it was the comics that were giving me solace, giving me escape, giving me comfort, giving me, whatever, man. And they still do. And I love it. Dude, I'm on. I still read comics every chance I get. Contrary to what everybody thinks, as a shop owner, I don't get to sit behind the counter all day and read comics. I actually have a huge business part of it that is necessary, but I still read comics. I read as much as I can when I can. I still love, like I said, love the art. Yeah, again, I can't say enough positive things. There's a lot of bad stuff going on in the industry. The industry is the industry. The industry has never been perfect. Okay. But again, like I said, it's easy to take all the negatives and just rip it apart and pull it out and everything like that, but again, if you focus on the really good stuff that's there, the amazing art that comes forward from creators when they're doing a comic, the storylines, a lot of the life lessons, some of the foundational stuff, I just love it, man. I still love it. And I'm real fortunate I get to do this. It's not easy, man. It really isn't. I don't know. I think every comic shop has struggled at some point in time. It's not easy. Like I said, we were this close to going out of business, and our fortune changed around, but if you don't, if I didn't take the chances, we would have been gone for sure. Will we still be around? Hey, man, you know what? I can't predict the future. I hope we are, because I think I still got a lot more to offer this island. We're growing a comics community versus I'm proud to say that a good chunk, 75% of my customers are readers, or and a bunch with the combo, yeah. So they're collector and readers. We have a lot of readers, more so than I think the monetary collector guys, which that I absolutely love. These guys read the stories. We talk about the comics, which is brilliant, I have guys that own some really crazy books from the most recent stuff that's coming out, they come in and say, yeah, man, hey, how you doing? How you liking that run? Oh, I'm loving this run. Yeah, well, just to let you know, man, like Immortal Hulk is a good example of that. That was a book that caught everybody by surprise. It's really well written. It's one of the more popular books. From a monetary standpoint, though, the first 12 issues go for about 300 plus on eBay right now, And the one thing I love is when I tell one of my customers this kind of stuff, they're like, oh, wow, oh, cool. But it's a great story. I love it. So, for me, man, I'm doing that right. That's what I want, because you have to have a love for it. And that's the other thing is I am growing a community. While I don't have all the answers, I look at things because everybody's asking me, so what do you think this, I get guys that'll ask me, he says, so what do you think this will be worth, down the line? I said, Brad, if I could answer that, I'd be a wealthy man. Okay. With all the books that have come through my hands. Okay. The reality though, is I help them build a solid foundation, a solid collection, so that it's a mix of stuff. And I always tell them, you got to start with the things that you love and gravitate to. So if you have a particular superhero that was always partial when you were a kid, start there, start picking up these different things. And then every once in a while, if you get a little bit of extra money, buy a special edition, buy one of the limited edition variants, buy a graded book, buy a vintage book. And if you do it little at a time, before you know it, you have a pretty awesome collection, and that's what I try and foster here. I talked about just a little bit ago of the pride of being able to put some of these books in people's hands, books signed by Stan Lee. They'll never get to meet Stan Lee. I'm fortunate I got to meet him a few times in my lifetime, these people will never get a chance to, but they can own a book that was signed by him, you know. And I try to make that happen. Or we call them grails, holy grails in the industry. But like I said, man, putting that book into an enthusiast's hands, I love making that happen. I love, and some of them are not like big money books. Some of them are, you know, just so happens that killer cover of a special character that they like, done by an artist that they love, you know. And I happen to bring in a variant, or one of my friends who maybe does limited edition shop stuff. I have access to that stuff for these people. So, you know, that's my job as a shop owner. My job as a shop owner is to perpetuate this industry, teach people the responsible way to collect. If you're always worrying about the monetary value, you're losing the enjoyment from what comics can give you. That's why I tell people, if you start with what you love, continue with what you love, you'll never make bad decisions, really, you know.
I mean, that's a good way to look at it. For me, like, I look at the artist side of it, because, you know, I work in the artist alley and I work in the industry as an artist. When somebody tells me what should I collect now, I tell them, well, you can't go wrong with, okay, what did you grow up with? Well, I like X-Men. Then try to get the whole run of X-Men. I mean, it's gonna, again, you got to be a pretty well-to-do collector, but, you know, like Uncanny X-Men, yeah, that went pretty deep. But X-Men #1 with Jim Lee till now, you can do that. But I also tell them, if you want to collect something that's really kind of a great industry evolution, is a sketch covers. Because you can have, I mean, nowadays you can go to, well, not now, but when you could go to conventions, you can see the artist at the table, bring your favorite book, like say Youngblood or whatever, and have Rob Liefeld do an actual artwork on the book that you can put in your collection. I tell them, if you like Brigade or whatever, then you can go to Merritt Michaels. He's willing to do it. You know, he's got a certain price, but you can have actual, like, if I could go back in time and get Frank Frazetta to do a sketch, I mean, that'd be amazing. But at the time, it would have been, you know, like, yeah, it's just Frank doing his little doodles, right? Or Stan Sickman, you know, or any one of the legendary guys. I tell people when they say, well, it's kind of expensive, and I tell them, would you spend $150 to go back in time and have Elvis sing you a song? Would you go back in time and have Stan Lee tell you the first time he ever created the Hulk? You know, all that kind of stuff. Would you do it for $150? Would you do it for $100? You know, would you go back in time and tell, you know, Michelangelo, yeah, can you paint me something? Oh, I got a painting right here. I'll give it to you for 15 shillings. You know, people don't understand that they're getting actual artwork from the actual artists that work on the books, like Todd McFarlane or Jim Lee or whatever. So that's where I'm coming from on the artist area. When people ask me, how do I, you know, what should I do? I got this thing, I got this, and I got that, and I got a, you know, Action Comic #1. I don't know, I'm looking for something new. And I tell them, well, there's sketch covers everywhere. You can get new, brand new, never seen before, one-of-a-kind art for your collection. So that's where I, as an artist, I'll tell them.
Yeah. I personally love the blank sketch covers. I think it was a brilliant marketing ploy, of course. But it also, so one of the big things is copyright, dude, in the industry. And as an artist, you know this, okay? So having an artist do, so I'm a Wolverine fan, right? Okay, I love Wolverine, okay? My favorite thing is to take blank sketch covers to new artists that I meet and have them do their version of my favorite character, Wolverine. Back in the day, there was a lot of, well, you know, how can you have him do this because he's not connected to the character? How can they do original art? It's copyrighted stuff, okay? So basically, as a consumer, if you purchase a blank sketch cover, Marvel, DC, Indies, whoever are printing them are basically getting paid for them, and it's implied consent. The whole purpose is for you to take it and go get fan art. Okay. This way, they get paid for it. They're not losing out anything by having an artist work on one of the characters that are copyrighted. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's why I love the blank sketches. Man, I've been really fortunate. I got some crazy sketches from pretty amazing artists over the years. I had you do one for me, right? Every artist I meet, and that's why it's hard to find blank X-Men covers in my shop, because I order the extras because
You use them all.
I need to have a stash ready at all times whenever I'm going to a show. So, yeah, that's the perk of being an owner, you know. So, it's kind of funny because I was as an owner, everybody asked me like, oh, how the heck can you sell that book? A friend of mine acquired an amazing book. It was Todd McFarlane's Silver Spider-Man #1, right? Signed by Stan Lee, signed by Tom Holland, signed by Jacob Batalon, and Richie, the actor who played Flash in The Homecoming. So 3 actors in Stan. Okay. The census is like minimal. Okay. One of my friends at CDC told me that there might be 5 to 7 of that combination in existence. Okay.
Wow.
That's crazy. And I sold it because there was somebody that was an absolute over the top fan about it. Okay. But the funny thing about it is I do a lot of that because I have a family. I can't keep everything under the sun. So I keep the things that I love. My collection is gone from a lot of booked books. Like I had massive runs of Spider-Man and, a lot of silver and which I inherited the silver stuff, but Bronze Age, because I was collecting from about 72, right around there. So I had massive collections of amazing books during that time. Spider-Man runs, all the big 129, 101s, 122, 123s, a lot of those books. And I put them in people's hands. But you know what? For me, my collection has shifted quite a bit. Don't get me wrong. I got a handful of, solid series, but it's filled more with personal, original autograph books, stuff from creators that I've met personally. It's a lot more personal items in part of my collection than it is the big money books, So it was kind of ironic because I was like kind of complaining jokingly to my wife. She said, "Geez, man, I put in all these great books in people's hands, and I don't get nothing for myself." So the sketch covers is part of that. But I was able to so one of the biggest mistakes as a dealer that I very seller, okay. Several years ago, 181 is my favorite character. I had a prosthetic easy money before it started climbing, because as a dealer you get a little spoiled sometimes and you think, I'll get another one, no problem. So I made the mistake of selling this book, which ended up grading out for the customer 9.6. Okay, so anybody who knows what that is, that it's a big money book for Hulk 181. The problem is this book started just smoking, taking off. Okay, and it literally took me over 8 years to finally replace the book, because part of it was every time I put a deal together, it would fall apart, or it was a book that it just wasn't appealing enough to me, or I thought I could get a better deal, and it got to the point where, and then out of the blue, I finally replaced that book. It's not the same grade, but I'm very happy with what I got. One of my customers, who is a heavy-duty collector, hooked it up and gave me a great price on it, and I finally have my main collection complete again. You know, this is a great example for me to tell people. Losing my first shop taught me one of the most important lessons. I love comics. I love the industry, but there's no doubt in my mind what I do. Okay, I deal in disposable income commodities. Okay, and when times get tough, I'm the first stuff to go. So if my business were to fail and go under, I'm prepared for that, because that's what losing my first business taught me. My first shop taught me is that what I deal in the scheme of things, while it's amazing and fantastic, if it comes down to having to pay the bills and feed my family, it's all gone. You know, that gives me a bit of a freedom that I think a lot of people don't get, because I've accepted where my position, I guess, in the universe kind of thing is. Yeah, you know, I love this, and I'm going to do this hopefully to the day I die if I can, if I have the community support to do it, you know. But I look around and I'm surrounded by great stuff, awesome things, and I've been able to do this. But it could all go away tomorrow, you know. But you know what? I'm okay with that.
Well, I mean, like the way you're talking like right now, I'm thinking to myself, no matter what happens, you've left a legacy of being knowledgeable, being a great person, supporting your community, supporting the artists.
I knew you asked about the great person stuff, but yeah.
Well, see that's the part about it though. You're humble about it. It comes with the territory. You know what I mean? It comes with the territory. If you're not humble about it, then you're not that great. But yeah, so you know, for you to talk about like, you know, it, and a lot of people, they have these possessions that are worth, you know, whatever they're worth monetarily, and they're like, oh, I don't think I could ever get rid of it. They're not. Who knows, man? They might not be put in the situation where they have to get rid of it. For you, you're like, hey, if I got to, I got to. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Like, I can get a Magneto sculpture, or I can get a, you know, X-Men #1 or Uncanny X-Men #1. Again, my family is more important. And I think that's what makes you who you are. You know, family and friends are more important than the physical possessions. So, but yeah, like I've known you for a couple of years now, and I've never known you to not be a straight shooter. You know, okay, so I'm on the,
you know, just I love owning.
What was that?
Yeah, you know that it is. It's one of the things that I've been fortunate. You know, while I love the comics and everything like that. You know, the personal meetings, my memories, the experiences are way more valuable to me today than any of that. You know, like I said, man, sitting around and talking stories with John Romita Jr. and meeting Mark Brooks and having an amazing conversation with Mark Brooks. You know, having people in the industry that I can pick up the phone and will answer the phone anytime. And, you know, these are the things that for me are just priceless, dude. The comics come and go, but these memories, you know, yeah, man, that's the real deal right there.
Yeah, so I mean, I was just thinking about it and how we got to be such good friends. It's because we had a mutual respect of what we do and who we are. Yeah, dude. Like when I first met you, I remember we were talking, and you know, I was kind of busy at the first show. Like my line was always just forever. But stopping to take a break just to talk to you was probably one of the highlights of the whole show. That and having my family and friends, because it was my first show in Hawaii ever. So there's a lot of support there. And, you know, for you, a guy that never met me before, never knew, you know, who I was, I I mean, literally, I was on nothing, a Joe Schmo, just trying to break into the industry. You gave me that respect, and that's what I remember about you. So, again, thank you for that. I appreciate it. So
Dude,
Mitch,
you're
one of our
welcome, dude. Um, it's been a pleasure, man. You were one of the rare guys. Yeah, man. I know I can call you anytime, dude. You're one of those guys I talk about, and I think what makes you so successful is your vision, dude. Like, Marat Michaels is a good friend of mine. I love this man. He's just a great guy. He has a vision and a hook, which turns into his hook. You're like the Steampunk Royals, man. I was blown away, and I've seen I'm not new to comics, bro. I've seen everybody's art over the years, okay? But you know what? It doesn't have to be fantastic art, but show me something that's original, and I love it, and I got mad respect for that, dude. One of my favorite guys. So this is my guilty pleasure right here. Okay, I'm a huge Scotty Young fan. I love his baby variants. Okay, I have a massive collection of Scotty Young. Okay, is it the most refined art? Absolutely not. It's fun. But dude, he did stuff and took things to levels that nobody else ever did. It's hilarious stuff to me. And that's the kind of stuff I look for. Okay. No offense. I see upcoming artists and I can kind of tell who their influences are because I saw these art when these guys were first starting out. I can tell somebody who's influenced by Rob Liefeld or Jim Lee or Will Spartasio or a lot of these guys during this time frame, or Todd McFarlane. You know what I mean? You can see that in their art. Okay, and no disrespect to any of them. I think we all draw on people that we gravitate to, regardless of whether you're a creator like you guys. The stuff that blew you away and influenced you, it has to creep into your creativity a bit, and that's understandable. But for me, man, it's like, dude, show me something I haven't seen before, and you got me. You got me.
Well, Mark, you still there?
Yeah. I just thinking.
Okay. I was just about to bring up, like, on YouTube, one of our supporters, his name is Mitch. He's actually listening to your brother Nick do his show while listening to you talk.
Yeah, it was my brother's 50th. Bro, it was my brother's 50th birthday the other day on the 7th. So,
Well, happy birthday, Nick. You gotta give him a shout out.
Yeah. The inside joke is, no matter how much of a slick, awesome, kick-ass DJ he is, the joke is he's always going to be my little brother, and he's always going to be a kid that I sat on in the back of the car and farted on his head.
See, that's what other thing.
I'm gonna tell you straight, dude, and like I said, man, I've heard a lot of DJs too. I did a little bit of it back in the day. I wasn't good. It was more for the fun of it, and hanging out at the club and everything like that. So several years before my brother did it, I worked with a guy like Eric Dean Valdez at the original Maui Stylus Point Discotheque.
Wow.
Yeah, so my brother, he's a good DJ, man. He's straight up, I give him mad props. He's a better DJ than I ever was, that's for sure. So
the thing is,
takes care of his family with it. So
it's weird because I have an older brother also, and even to this day, he's like, I don't care how big you are, I still whoop your ass. You got kids, he's like 50, I'm like 45, so I don't give a fuck. I still whoop your ass. But just like your brother, like you show him respect, because when I was growing up, my brother influenced me drawing. Whatever he drew, I drew. Whatever he did, I did. He started smoking at like 15. I started smoking at 11 because I want to be like my brother. I'm not saying bad about it, but it's like we still have that rivalry, but we still got that respect. Like he knows that he can't draw comic books. He knows that he can't draw anymore. But I can't do the physical things he can do. I'm not good at archery. I wasn't good at tennis. I wasn't, all this kind of stuff. He's a father now. I know for a fact that I cannot be a father. I can take care of other kids, like people's kids, but I give them back when they irritate the crap out of me. I put them in time out and let them sit there for a couple hours. I forget they're there. But, like there's different aspects in both you and Nick's life that you excel in. And I gotta give props to your mom, dude. I love her. I love her.
My mom is the greatest,
Greatest.
And this is the thing, dude. I'm really lucky because I got a lot of friends and I've seen their parents, how they act and everything like that, dude. And how they are with their parents. My mom has stuck with me through everything, and never passed judgment on me with all the mistakes I made, with all the screw ups I did in my life. So I love my mom.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she's been your best cheerleader since the beginning. You know what I mean? But yeah, I gotta give props to your mom for raising you guys. But also, both you and your brother have excelled in what you do. Nick has. I mean, when we went to Seattle, this is way before I knew you. When we went to Seattle.
Yeah, dude, I remember that. That was hilarious. That was so hilarious. Dude, go ahead and talk.
But yeah, like we went over there, and he had it on lock, dude. Like he owned that car, and he was driving like 90 miles an hour in pouring rain in this little Yaris-looking car. With me, Mark, his wife, his kid, and him. Dude, he was slamming that. We were like, oh my god! But he was telling us like, if you don't drive like
you
this,
lost a couple of years off your life on that one, didn't you?
Bruh. like I had to stop smoking for 2 years because of him. I needed those years back. But yeah, I was like, dude, you guys drive so fast here in Seattle. He's like, if you don't drive fast here in the rain, somebody's gonna come behind you and slam you, dude. Like it's you gotta.
I know guys drive fast, but I don't know anybody that drives like my brother. Okay.
It's true,
but it's hilarious. So this is one of the things that connected you and I. Okay. So when you guys did that throwback in Seattle, you crashed at Nick's place, right? For a while, right? Yeah. And so I met you, and I'm posting up, and you came to the store and everything like that first time, and I'm posting up pictures and stuff, and Nick's like messaging me. He says, "Wow, hey Mike, who is that guy? That guy looked really familiar." I said, "Oh, it's Free Isabella," and he goes, "Ask him if he knows a guy named John, because he looks really familiar. He looks like this guy named John that I know." And then you were like, "Who the hell's asking for John?" You were like, "Who's that?" Who, because Free, now, people know who you are, and and they know, because before you were a little touchy about that before. And cracks me up, dude. And so like you're like, "Who the hell is this?" And I told him, "Oh, it's my brother." And, "Well, who's your brother?" And I said, and you're like, "What?" And then he sends me the picture of you guys across from the sound in Seattle with the skyline. You guys took the picture together. And dude, it was like such small world kind of stuff, dude. It was like, are you kidding me? Like, and that just kind of, you're like my brother from another mother, dude. You're like extended family, dude. And that's one of the things that was crazy about this whole thing. That's why, man, you know what? I was so proud, man, when you came that weekend that I graduated with my master's degree, bro, and you sat up in the stands and you watched me, Jax was there too, man, yeah, man, that's an awesome memory for me. And I was super stoked that you were there.
It's so funny because I remember Okay, well, if you really think about the situation, who would have thought that a DJ that he met through another DJ that lived in Maui and all that, but now moved to Las Vegas. And I never knew Mark until he moved to Las Vegas. So, um, how would you meet a DJ from Las Vegas that only knew from Las Vegas, had no connection in Hawaii, go up to your house and eat, break bread with your family, take you to the sound, visit the Starbucks or whatever. And then years later, I meet the brother in Hilo, well, on Oahu, and then go to his shop in Hilo. I mean, dude, there's no way that would actually happen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, exactly, dude. That's why I said it was crazy.
So I got a question for you and Mark, actually. Did you guys know each other or anything, or have any connection in Hilo at all?
Wait, you broke that. Okay.
Well-
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I was only living there for maybe about 3 years, from maybe 2000 to 2003. So yeah, I was only there for a very short window
Yeah,
of time.
I definitely wasn't available in 2000.
I'm not gonna ask why, but I kind of know. But yeah, but I was only there about 2000, 2003.
Okay.
I think I moved up there. I actually, like I said, we went up there for that Spring Fest or something they had at the was that the big gymnasium thing, whatever they call it. But they had it every spring, and we were selling like cell phone stuff, and we just decided to move up there and open a little shop with our buddies. So, but yeah, so yeah, I don't think so. But little did I know, like you would meet him, and we knew his brother. Like, and that's the thing, the spirit of you guys and you guys' family is because I really didn't know your brother really well. You know, I knew of him when we were in Maui because he was already, when I moved to Maui, I moved to Maui in 2003, oh no, 2005. And then he would do like mixes for Joe guys in Maui. And they go, oh, this guy Nick.
Right.
And then I was like, okay. And then one time I was like, oh, let's go up to Seattle and do some gigs. And he's like, oh, you guys can stay at my place, whatever you guys like, whatever, da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, wow, this guy's cool. And, you know, he just picked us up and, you know, gave us the big aloha and just been
brother.
like, showed us around town, zipped us around, gave us heart attacks in his car and all that good stuff. Took us to his club where
Yep.
where there's like lots of shootings and took years off our lives, but we enjoyed every minute of it.
Oh,
You know, I
you
used
went
to-
to HD Hotspurs?
Yeah, the hot Spurs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. It was funny because I was standing outside having a cigarette, and I came back in. He was like, "Oh, yo, man, where were you?" I was like, "I was just having a cigarette outside." He's like, "Okay, next time you go out, smoke that cigarette like you just lugging that thing, and come back in, dude. You don't want to be standing outside for too long." Oh God! I was like, "Mark, can we go back to the Mark? Can we just go back to the Ramada?" but again, dude, he owned that joint, dude. Like nobody was messing with him. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like he's the only white dude in there, and like
Yeah,
yeah, that
he's got that jumping, man. You know,
Hot Spurs. That's the name of the place.
yeah. HD Hotspurs, right? It's like, dude, I was like, you know, it's like he probably thought you got mugged. He probably thought they took you out the back or something.
we just stab wounds. You had a secret. We're just stab wounds. Dude, that's hilarious. All the Rough Riders, like literally, like DMX Rough Rider guys. Oh my God.
Oh yeah,
But-
dude, that was a serious spot right there, boy.
Ah.
Well,
boy.
it's what time is it, Mark?
Oh shoot, I don't even know. Let me look at. Oh yeah, we're hitting about 11 o'clock right now, our time.
Okay, well, like I said, I got some work to do, so I think 2 hours of your time has been enough because I know you got work to do. You got new comics coming, and New comics going. Okay, I got to tap on something. When you said that, yeah, as a comic shop owner, people think that you just sit around and just read comics all day. But if that was the case, then that means that you're not busy. That's a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, you got work to do.
Yeah.
You know, everybody thinks,
Yeah.
like as an artist, like, oh, you're into comics, oh man, you must read a lot, dude. I haven't read a comic in like maybe a month, maybe two, almost 2 months, because I just don't have time to do it. You know, there's a work aspect of it. So I'm glad you don't have time to read that many comics. But
Well,
we
I
do
make
have a
time because like I said, it's still I make time because it's still my love. You know, it's still a passion of mine. You know, and
Absolutely.
honestly, you know, I love it. But also, as a shop owner, man, you need to be able to communicate with your customers, right? You can't be
Right.
phony in this industry, right? You know, your customers come in, they just read a book, they want to talk to you about it. You need to be up on this stuff. You know, that's part of it, man.
Yeah, and in
You
the
know.
comic industry, especially when dealing with collectors and readers, you can't have cliff notes. Like, because they'll be like, oh, yeah, dude, on page 5, when he actually said this thing, blah, blah, you have to know exactly what the hell they're talking about. Like, you can't just know the plot. You need to know the actual dialogue sometimes. But anyway, I mean, again, I just want to tap on that because I feel bad that I don't read as much anymore. I want to, but, you know, when you got deadlines come first because the electricity got to stay on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, so I think we're almost done with this section, but we do have a tradition for the show.
I've seen it.
Mark.
As much as we love you, it's a tradition of our show, and we love your family and your brother and your mom, everybody. There's a tradition to the show, a portion of the program we like to call Try, Answer, Pass, Kind. All right, Free's going to read you 10 rapid fire questions, and all you got to do is answer them honestly and as quick as possible. And for some reason with you, I don't think it's going to be a problem. Some of the people out there, I think they have problems just spitting it out, but with you, I think you're going to breeze through this. It's just a prediction.
I got nothing to hide, dude. I got nothing to hide, dude. My life is open book. I got no shame anymore either, so it's great.
Right? There's no shame anymore. All right, are you ready?
Ready?
All right, the 10 questions, starting with number 1. Number 1, the biggest weed icon, Snoop Dogg or Willie Nelson?
Oh, Willie Nelson, hands down, bro.
You know, the funny thing is, Snoop Dogg actually did an interview where when somebody said, "Has anybody ever smoked you under the table?" He's like, "Man, the only guy I can't hang with is Willie Nelson." All right, number 2, best,
Oh, wait. Sorry. Okay.
best female pop star of all time.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's hard. Best female
Which is
pop
like,
star. I gotta say Beyonce.
okay, Beyonce, good one. Like, I would go with Tiffany because I think we're alone now. It doesn't.
One hit wonder. One hit wonder.
I love her, dude. That red hair and that balls. Woo, love it. Okay.
That's
Number
clouding your judgment right there.
Hey, if you see pictures of her now, she's still good looking, you know. Okay, number 3. Which is the best place to eat? Kuhio Grill, Hawaiian Style Cafe, Cafe 100.
I gotta go with my boys at Hawaiian Style Cafe, hands down. Okay.
How come? How come you gotta go with Hawaiian Style?
You know what, man? They use fresh, local grown ingredients, daily catches. I've never had a bad meal there. They just know how to do it right. Nice portions.
Right.
Amazing cook. The guy takes so much pride in his place, bro. So I take every guest that visits here there.
Yeah, including me. Me and Jax have been there a few times. I think Hawaiian Style Cafe, the reason why is because everything tastes good and they literally throw it all in one plate put an egg on top, and call it a look. What you call that? What is it called?
Mochasaurus, baby. Yeah, you haven't eaten loco moco until you've had the mochasaurus, bro. It
Yeah,
is
exactly.
heart attack. It's heart attack on a plate. Yeah, dude, quick breakdown: better fried rice, ground grilled chuck patty, spam, Kahlua pig, chicken katsu, okay, and egg any way you like it, smothered in brown gravy.
There you go, right there. And I'd have to go with that because Jax is a loco moco connoisseur and he loves it. All right, number 4. What would be your superpower? What would your superpower be?
I would say, dude, I want an adamantium skeleton and claws like Wolverine. A healing factor.
You know
I
what?
want to be Wolverine, bro.
Healing factor. You can eat whatever you like. You won't gain weight. All right, number 5.
That's a touchy
Would you
subject
rather
right
have
now, bro, with COVID.
Number 5. Would you rather have a brain freeze for 10 minutes or stub your toe super hard?
Oh, dude, that sucks either way. Probably to stub your toe because I've already fried a big part of my brain, so I don't need any more fried.
See, most people would stub their toe because they can sit down and like Peter Griffin that thing out. Once you get brain freeze for 10 minutes, there's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? Like you'd have to just deal with it. Okay. Number 6. Who's your all-time favorite rapper?
Oh, honestly, straight up, bro, Run DMC.
Rock on. All right. All right. Number 7. Who would win? John Wick, The Punisher, or Batman with no gadgets?
Ooh.
John Wick,
That's
The
a tough
Punisher,
one. That's a tough
or
one.
Batman with 5.
If I had to go strict, but wait, does John Wick have his guns and stuff?
They're all just hand to hand.
I would say Batman.
You say Batman hand. You know, I would too. The Punisher, he's relentless. John Wick, he can go hand to hand. He's more of a guns kind of guy. And Batman though, he's trained all around the best assassin in the world. So I'll go with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, if we're
Wick had
8.
his guns. They
Oh yeah, no, Wick would just. All right, number 8. Who's your favorite Hawaiian band or artist?
Oh, hands down, Israel Kamakavivole.
All right, good answer. My personal favorite is Cecilia Capono. And Mark, who's your personal favorite?
My personal favorite? That's a tough one with me, man. You got old school like Kalapana with Mackie Fury or stuff like Fiji.
Mackie, yeah. Those are good, but honestly, you know what? My dad really loved Israel, so like we listened to that a lot, and every time I hear that, I always think of my dad. So, yeah.
There you go. So, where were we at? Number 9. Who would win in a fight, you or Will Ferrell?
I'd kick Will Ferrell's ass.
You know, I don't doubt it. I mean, he's an actor, but he looks like he'd be like, and then run away.
Yeah.
So I definitely choose
He's
E.T.
big, but he's
And
clunky.
number 10, we're gonna break a little tradition here in number 10, because normally number 10 it's who do you think looks stink, who do you think looks fresh, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I'm just gonna go with an easy one. Would you watch a porno of one of your friends that you went to school with? Like if he or she is in a porno, would you watch that porno?
Depends on who the chick is that he's had the porno with.
Look, you gotta answer.
Oh, you know
Would
what,
you
dude?
or
Honestly, I would. Okay, because then, dude, I'd be ragging on him big time afterwards.
like even if you had the most prettiest girl in the porno, you still be like, Brad,
I'm like,
you gotta
bro,
shave your
is
butt.
that the best you got? Are you kidding me? Is that the best you got?
But you gotta like anal bleach or something, bro. What's wrong with you? And that's the top. That's our 10 questions. Our rapid fire questions.
All right. That was fun to see.
I could just see you just having to do it. You was like, bruh. Dude, that was a bad angle, dude. I don't know how they got the camera so far up there, but I don't know.
I'd be like, what were you thinking?
How come it looked like he had 2 holes over there? All right, that's my section.
Oh boy. That was a fun one. That was a fun one. All right.
Well, I just want to thank both of you for inviting me on here. This was a blast. Um, you know,
Hold on, you're kind of breaking up, bro.
I think he's frozen for a second. Hopefully.
I just want to
There
thank
we
you
go.
guys for
There you go.
inviting me on here and being able to share. Hopefully, pass on stuff. Hopefully, some of the stuff that I said is useful to people out there, and they can take bits and pieces of it and do whatever with it. But it's my passion. You know, I've been real fortunate to meet guys like you and a bunch of others. So yeah, thank you guys for having me on here. This was a blast.
For sure, we definitely enjoy finding local people doing good things and great things for the community, following their passions, and that's what the Aloha State of Mind podcast is all about. And once again, I got to commend you for just sharing sharing your story, and hopefully this will inspire kids not only to read comics and what you're passing on to the next generations, but also to find inspiration from your story to know that you can overcome whatever it may be. It may be tragedy, maybe depression, maybe substance abuse, whatever, not necessarily in your case, but in any case, you can find a passion, follow your passion, and make a business out of it, make a life out of it, make a way for your family to live by, and just do something you like. So that's that alone is inspiring to me, especially like I said, because I lived in Hilo for about 3 years, and I felt like it was so, like the kids out there were so like without inspiration, without like hope. Almost sometimes it kind of made me like almost like depressed, not depressed, but I was like, geez, the kids are trying so hard to do something, and there's no one here. We used to do some like teen dances back then. We got some backlash for it because some of the parents were like, oh well, the kids are dancing all this way and whatnot. I go, and our thing was like, better than them doing that than getting pregnant in the bushes. You know what I mean? But I just felt like they needed to have some kind of outlet, some kind of inspiration. And I think with everything with social media nowadays and everything so impersonal, someplace like a comic shop can bring community and people face to face and build those relationships that they need for development and just to have life skills and just community.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. And that's one of the things I'm really grateful for is when I see families coming into my store. Kids come in. We do $2 Tuesday, and we do all kinds of specials for the kids and stuff. But to see mom bringing the kids in and dad bringing the kids in, man, I absolutely love that, man. And again, like I said, I am so grateful and so fortunate for all of this. And that's the thing, man. You know what? No one can ever take away my experiences. And if I did wrong, I could, that's whatever the destiny is for me. I don't know. Like I said, I don't pretend to know. I'm going to keep doing this because it's what I'm going to do at the best of my abilities. And if I'm still here, I'm still here. And for whatever reason, if I'm not, that's what's meant to be then.
All right, cool. Well, that's going to make it a wrap for this portion. I'd like to thank Michael Sato from Enjoy Comics. You can check him out in the Prince Kuhio Plaza. I'm pretty sure you should be able to find him in the mall. So definitely go out and check him out. We want to thank you once again for blessing us on the Aloha State of Mind podcast. And anything you want to say before we bounce out, Free?
I just wanted to thank Mike for all the years of support, and I did, again, thank you so much for coming in and taking 2 hours out of your busy schedule. Today's Tuesday, so all the new comics come in from, to get sorted out to go out on Wednesday.
I don't get mine until tomorrow morning, bro. So I'm good.
Oh yeah, because you get it later than everybody else.
Yeah.
But still, taking 2 hours out of your day. I want to thank Mel for letting you do this.
She's back
because
there
I know she
behind
got
the counter, honey.
So I got to give her a shout out. But again, thank you, Mike, for so much for doing what you do in Hilo, and not just Hilo, but the rest of Hawaii. The comic, the artists that go to your place. The reason why we do it is because we love you, and the reason why we do it is because we want to support everything that you do because you support us back. So thank you so much for doing this podcast with us. Aloha State of Mind thanks you.
Man. My pleasure, guys. Thank you. Aloha.
All right, you have a good day. We'll talk to you soon. All right, stay safe and aloha to you. All right. All right, that's good. Yeah, no, I just logged him off for now, so we just want to give a shout out to everyone in the chat. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the podcast with Mike Sato from Enjoy Comics. Shout out to Jax in there. My boy AP was in there. Who else? Mitch. Everyone else. Jason Tavares, Jason Monroe, Dennis. Everyone for locking in the podcast on this Tuesday evening. We had a little overtime, so we're gonna cut the goodbye short tonight, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Again, I want to thank Nicole, Calais, and all the rest of everybody that joined us. All our interviews are spare the moment. Well, not spare the moment. We plan to get them on. They connect with us. Sometimes we have bad connections or bad feeds. It's all a live show, so things happen. So bear with us. I wanted to thank Mark personally because he does all the technical difficulties and all the technical things that need to be done. I sit here and I play around and I talk story for 2 hours and leave. Mark has to do all the rest of the work. So again, thank you, Mark. I appreciate it, brother.
It's all good, man. I love all this techie kind of stuff, so it's all G with me. But I'd like to thank Mike again. And like I said, even though we did have some technical difficulties with the sound and internet connection there, I'm pretty sure he got his story across, his point across, and I'm pretty sure people will connect with him. And definitely, if you are in Hilo and you like comics, or if you just want to support local businesses, check him out in the Prince Kuhio Plaza. That's Enjoy Comics, and tell him Free sent you, and he'll give you a 1% discount.
Nah, not even that. He'll give you a handshake and tell him, "Yeah, he's a good guy."
It's all good. So let's make it a wrap. You want to say anything to anybody before we head on out? No, you good?
Well, everybody do your thing.
All right, shout out everyone in the chat room. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back with another podcast. And I don't know if I'll be here. I don't know if we'll be here next week because actually, I might be on my anniversary vacation. So we might take a bye week next week. So probably see us in 2 weeks. And I'm not sure who our guest will be, but if not, we'll have another chat session forum with all of you guys in the chat. If not, we'll have somebody great lined up for another great interview like tonight's podcast. So other than that, I want to wish everybody a good night. And until next time, be sure to take care of all the ones you love. Do something good for them. Better yet, do something good for a stranger. Till next time, or next week, or 2 weeks, we wish you nothing but peace, love, and
Aloha!
you guys have a great one. We'll see you next time.
Wherever you are, you're living aloha. Wherever you go, your soul is aloha. Wherever you've been, you're living aloha. About yourself is always aloha. Aloha is a state of mind. 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 When you're with family, you feel the aloha. When you're with friends, you feel the aloha. When you're on the beach, the sun's your aloha. And it breathes the kiss of aloha. Aloha is a state of mind. 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 A state of mind. A state of mind. A state of mind.
Aloha! State of Mind Podcast.